Hello, once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League, and coming to you live on Twitch, which turns out to be the home of MASL soccer these days. Welcome back, everybody. It's season 4, episode 20 of Soccer's Overtime. The Soccers have won 16 in a row, but today's episode is entitled The Walking Wounded, as we try to cobble together a fife and drum corps to head to Baltimore and to Harrisburg this weekend. Jerry Jimenez, I always co-host, my regular partner here Tuesday evenings. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. It's been, 16 in a row. When you said that, like hearing it out loud, you read it, but you say it out loud. It's amazing. What a great run we are having right now. We'll get into why walking wounded. I love that very much. But no, it's always fun to be here with you on Tuesdays. Hi, everybody joining us right now. Make sure that you're leaving your comments, by the way, as we're doing this live. What a coinky dink. We've been here on Twitch, it feels like forever, Craig. Yeah. And MASL has decided to join us.
Trendsetters, influencers, right here. You're looking at a couple influencers right here.
That's right.
Greg and Jerry at 619 Sports at Cheeto Jerry. Coming up on the show today, the MASL playoff picture starts to come into focus. We talked about moving week last week. The boxes were moved. We'll let you know where they all landed. New ball. New broadcast platform, new everything, old teams. We've got a lot of MASL news to dig through. I mean, like 3 times as much MASL news as we normally have. And I definitely have some thoughts as well. That is coming up in the show. Our special guest tonight joining us at 5:30 as we bring this show to you live starting Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Juan Gonzalez is our guest, veteran defender, identical twin of Felipe. We will talk to Juan Gon live at 5:30. We have a Christian Gutierrez update to share with you as well. So a lot to get to here on episode 20, season 4 of Soccer's Overtime. We say thank you so much for joining us. Say a special thank you, of course, as always, to our early adopters who are here watching us live on Twitch, twitch.tv/San Diego Soccers. It is great to have you here. We say a hello to everybody who's watching the replay, who's watching us on YouTube. And as a reminder, every one of our episodes is archived and available on our YouTube channel. And of course, a special heartfelt hello to our podcast friends, to our audio-only interactors who are listening to us on the earbuds right now or out of their phone speaker or maybe out of the speakers of their car as they're listening to the show. Thanks so much. This started as a podcast. It'll always be a podcast. Soccer's Overtime, live on Twitch. Okay, let's get into Sunday's game, Jerry. Soccers win their 16th in a row. They defeat the Tacoma Stars. And it was not an easy affair. Not at all. 8-6, the final score. And this was kind of like a rolling calamity for a while for the Soccers, Jerry. The week starts and we go, okay, Craig Giles is going to be out. Felipe Gonzalez is going to be out. Guerrero Pino is going to be out. Then we get to Friday at practice. Sean Callahan, we thought he was going to be back in. He re-tweaked his hamstring. He's going to be out. Get a call Sunday morning, Cesar Serra. He's not feeling good. He's out. Of course, Gerardo was already out. And that's 6 absences. The Soccers have a 22-man roster. And you start 16. So it was pretty easy for Coach Phil Salvaggio, Jerry, to fill out the lineup card on Sunday afternoon. It was literally, who's left?
We got to call in the veterans is what we ended up having to do. But, man, when I showed up to the arena, and I heard the news of all the people that were missing. And obviously we already knew there was going to be a few missing before that because of injuries and so on and so forth. Not a good feeling going right into it. I said, what are we doing? And then I started seeing, obviously we had Zay come in. We had Vaquero Velez making his debut on the season. He had been, part of the game. If you are at the Grand Old Arena, you know that he is very good at the staring contest. But other than that, we hadn't really seen him, So it was refreshing to see these guys come in and have to fill in, honestly, for those that are injured. Callan being one of those that I saw kind of working out very softly, kind of taking it easy, and I was going, what's happening? What's going on? But hey, like you said, hard fought, 8-6. What a game. We didn't know that Tacoma, was going to be bringing it. I mean, I guess we kind of always want to expect it from Tacoma, right? But we didn't know what team was going to show up. I think we've talked about it before. And honestly, even from this side, I'm glad that the Tacoma that showed up that night did, because that was such a fun match, Craig. Such a
It
fun
really
game.
was. Like when you go back and you watch it, of course, in the organization you want to win. You of course would prefer something comfortable because it eases the nerves,
Yeah.
and you get the situation you get. You get a tight competitive game. But that comment that we just had up on the screen on our Twitch broadcast from Eddie Bear, so appropriate, because Cesar Serra, as we mentioned, comes up sick. The call comes in late. Brian Farber gets pulled into the lineup with no intention of being in the lineup. A couple weeks back when Farbs filled in for you, Jerry, he talked about hoping maybe to be fit for the last game of the year on April 3rd, or maybe the playoffs, and a chance to be somebody who could be called upon if needed in the playoffs. Well, he was needed on March 20th, way earlier than expected. Brian had literally returned to practice for the first time on Thursday of last week, and ran a little on Thursday, ran a little on Friday. And then, as Eddie said, he was out shopping and he gets the call, Farbs, you got to come in. You got to get in uniform. You're going to have to play. But it gets worse, Jerry, because, the game begins, and Farber on the depth chart, they post the tactical chart up in the locker room, and Farber was listed as kind of a dash off to the side, meaning that he was only going to play on the floor, maybe 2 or 3 shifts, when everybody was tired, when somebody needed a blow, or if somebody got hurt. Otherwise, Brian was pretty much going to chill on the bench. He would be in uniform, but he really wouldn't be playing. The game begins. Tacoma has their guys who always show up against San Diego, and they showed up, right? Danny Waltman showed up. He had a great first quarter. He had a very, very good first half. Corey Keats seems to be good for a goal like every single time Tacoma comes into San Diego, if not a couple goals. And he hit an absolute banger that turned 1-0 into 1-1 and kind of settled, I think, the Stars to the point where they're like, okay, hang on, we're in this match. We're doing good. And then honestly, the Stars played a tremendous second quarter, Jerry. They outscored the Sockers 3-1. The only San Diego goal was Andy Reyes, who himself had been coming back from injury and was in his first game back, getting a goal from Eddie Velez. Velez getting a point in his first game of the year. But then Tacoma knocks in 3 and takes a 4-2 lead into the half. And man, I just had nothing but praise, honestly, on the air for the way the Stars had attacked this game.
Yeah, we have to also mention what a fantastic player Cox is. He brings it every single time too, for the Tacoma Stars. And when any team, and we've talked about this, and probably this is going to be forever, so get used to it. Whenever a team faces the San Diego Sockers, they know that they have to bring it. They have to bring their A+ game, right? They have to do 110% from what they normally would do anywhere else, and they did, And so going into this game and into the half, the one thing that I was looking for, Craig, on the field was the expressions in the soccer's players' faces, and looking out for anybody that may seem like they look depleted, or they look like they're kind of feeling lost, like, hey, we're down 4-2, this is it. And I didn't see that, to be honest. So I went into the half seeing no, like, upset faces. Everybody was like, okay, this is 4-2. We're used to this, right? And let's just keep it going. And we saw a totally different team come in for the third quarter uh against Tacoma. And we also saw a very different Tacoma team come in. I think that they kind of put the brakes a little bit coming in. They came in hot. but the Sockers, I don't think at any point felt like they were done. Even if they were, 3-1, 4-2, it that's the one thing about this team. They feel like they can come up from any deficit. It doesn't matter what it is, and they still have a fighting chance. So I was excited for that. Honestly, that's what I look for. Because there's a big difference in the way that a player looks when if you're going into the half with your head down, kind of upset and walking slow. That tells you they're not feeling great. But these guys, none of them look like they were ready to give up at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also agree with what you said about Juice Cox. Jamel Cox, when I saw him on the floor at 4:05 when the Stars came out for warm up, I was like, "Ooh," and that made a note of it because I had looked it up before, Jerry. I had kind of had this thing in my mind where I said, "I don't think the Cox brothers have traveled all year." And then I looked it up before the match, and sure enough, neither Jamel or Rafael Cox had traveled outside of Tacoma the whole season. They had been home game only players. So, I mean, what a big difference because Jamel Cox is truly one of the only stars that brings speed to his game.
That guy's fast.
Nick Pereira is a very technical player, one of the most technical players around. Michael Ramos has a little bit of a burst, and he can be physical, he can be explosive. Caceres has the left foot. Canali is clever and knows where to be, but fast. No one on Tacoma's fast except for Jamel Cox.
Yeah.
And he showed that speed. He creates counters for them. He allows them to press break so much more easily. And of course, he winds up with a 4-point night against the Sockers with a hat trick and an assist, and definitely was a difference maker in the match.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with Pereira too. I think you're talking about the speed. Everybody else in the Stars team makes up for it in their technical skill. Somebody like Pereira just again finds open spaces, is able to do so many things that a lot of players cannot do in just being able to control the ball, control the pace of the game, and then put the ball in the back of the net. We saw that Tacoma Stars against Ontario last night. I mean, what a great game from him as well. So praises to all of them because they did fantastic. And man, Danny Waltman. I mean, when we get this Danny Waltman that we got on Sunday, my goodness, like he's scary. It's almost like when are we, what are we going to be able to do to get anything past this guy? And I apologize, but we're just now starting to play some of the highlights here. And shout out to Eddie who puts these together. But man, it was just such an interesting game to watch because I was not expecting this to be such a crazy fight all the way to the end.
Well, when you see, and like you said, you just started rolling in the highlights. When you see Waltman making like wild saves from outside and diving one-handed stops, when he stopped the snap header that Gutierrez had, which was a pure instinct reaction save, that's when
Yeah.
you know, it's good Danny, right? Because we've seen that, second game of the back-to-back, kind of immobile Danny, in certain games this year. He's 40. When he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. But when he has it, he's still one of the best. And he was good once again, for sure, on Sunday night. He wasn't at his absolute top where we've seen him steal stuff against us in the past, but he was right there. He was very good. The Sockers were really disappointed in their first half performance. Phil Salvaggio, in his halftime MASL TV interview with Melissa May, said, with this kind of like the resigned sound, Jerry, of a parent, like a disappointed parent, he was like, I just hope we start to play better soccer, and the thing that bothered the Sockers for sure, there were two things that were troublesome for San Diego throughout the course of this game. The first was high pressure. The Sockers tried to use high pressure against Tacoma in the first half. It was a complete backfire. Every single time they high pressed, it was 3 passes. The Stars were out of it. The Stars were heading down the field on the counter, and the Sockers were chasing from behind. There's an example playing right now.
There it is. Yep.
In the highlights of pressure and the Sockers giving up a breakaway as the result of it. And the other thing was the cumulative effect of the loss of top defenders, because usually it's Guerrero Pino with Mitchell Cardenas. in an on-ball defending 30-minute role. And if Pino's unavailable, it's Mitchell Cardenas with Cesar Cerda in a 30-minute on-ball defending role. And in this case, it was Cardenas and Rojo doing that. And Rojo more known to be the off-ball defender than the on-ball defender. When you start to bring in the 38, 39, 40-year-olds to the lineup, you're taking speed out of the lineup, and you're taking some of the defensive prowess out of the lineup. And the thing that really bothered the Sockers, Jerry, when they went back and evaluated, was losing runners defensively in the first half, and really just not having that tightness that we've seen almost all year long.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. And, Tacoma took advantage of that. And also, I mean, they're just fantastic at, the follow up on these forward attacks from the Sockers. They were able to counter pretty quickly, and were, leaving the Sockers behind with 2 against 1 sometimes, 1-on-1 sometimes. And, that ended up hurting the Sockers quite a bit. Man, it was such a even matchup with the losses that we had on our bench, and it was just such a fun game to watch. We see again, congrats. Was that Reyes' first goal, and also Allen's,
first Sockers goal, absolutely.
And
a big
Allen as
goal
well.
it was.
Yeah. So, we had a couple of people that had to step up, and they did, and unfortunately Reyes does go out with an injury pretty early on in the game, if I'm not mistaken. And that was unfortunate, but I did notice, if you go back, and again, if you're not following us on social media, please do go and check it out on the stories that are all they're all saved on the Instagram page. You can see there at the point where Reyes gets hurt. I was actually behind the net, and he steps wrong, and you see in his face there's some pain, but he follows through after I don't know what he pulled or what he
left hamstring is what he pulled. Yeah.
Okay, and he still followed through, ended the play, took a shot straight at Waltman, but still, I mean, the dedication that it takes, you could see the pain, and still through that, he went and was able to get a shot off with his right foot, which is the one he injured. I mean, like, it's just, to me, that's mind blowing, and that goes to show like how invested they are on making sure that we are at the top, and we continue to show that we are the top team. But again, shout out and kudos and congratulations to both of those players who had their first goal on first, I guess, professional goal with the Sockers.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
On the broadcast in the first quarter, Jerry, I was saying how it was going to be so important for Tavoy Morgan and Charlie Gonzalez and Brandon Escoto and Leo to power the offense because of the folks who were out of the lineup. And then at the end of the first half, the 2 goal scorers were Alan Garcia and Andy Reyes.
Yeah.
Each getting their first of the year. And I'm like, I don't think the game plan is exactly playing out to Hoyle here the way we wanted to. But it was a really determined effort by Tacoma in that first half. And then the Sockers needed to come out and show their excellence in the third quarter. And that's what they did with a 3-0 quarter, a quarter that saw Tavoy Morgan score a couple of goals, that saw Rojo score about 40 seconds into the half to really set the tone that it wasn't going to be Tacoma's quarter. It was going to be a quarter that San Diego reestablished their excellence.
Oh, yeah. And we just saw, too, if you guys were watching, Pee Wee Ortega, couple of opportunities there, like clear goal chances. That was like, Pee Wee, it's coming, man. I swear your goal is coming. It's almost there. But that was such a bummer too. And it would have put us in a much better place if that ball would have gone in, because it would have been 4-3 going into the half. Instead, we go into the half with a 4-2. But like I said, I mean, you see the fight. I mean, they know that they're hurting. They know they're not the 100% team that they normally are. But the players that needed to step up did, and that was a beautiful thing to see.
Sockers then have that lead going into the fourth quarter. 1-goal lead at 5-4. The old guard has stood up. The old men are in, but now they're going to have to play more, because you talked about the Andy Reyes injury early in the third quarter. And then later in the third quarter, the injury that had all of us in a state of depression after the match. And that was Christian Gutierrez going down, a collision at midfield, two guys just going for the same ball, nothing dirty, nothing of intent, nothing at all really that you could say in terms of the play, but Gutierrez got his ankle caught underneath him, and he was in incredible pain. His left ankle, he could not put any weight on it. He had to be helped off of the floor by athletic trainer Paul Savage and equipment manager Jerry Mosier, and taken to the locker room. And it was definitely a bleak moment, Jerry, because, we talk about as on the replay, you see Reyes he was the first of two escorted off the floor. Gutierrez we almost don't talk about him enough in terms of how important he is to the Sockers on defense, never mind the 17 goals.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't know if you guys noticed that if you're watching here live with us, if not, go on YouTube, watch the replay. You can see Reyes actually reach for his leg, which actually I think it was his left leg now that I'm rewatching it. But he goes and holds onto his leg, lets go, and then takes a shot. So that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
With Christian Gutierrez, my goodness, we just do not talk enough about him. And he is, man, I saw him go down, and the way that they had to walk him out, oh man, I started really panicking because I'm going, oh my gosh, that is absolutely a huge loss for the Sockers, and it looked like a very, very bad injury. I think you talked about it in the broadcast as well. You said something about like this would be devastating for the Sockers if he is in fact out, for the remainder of the season because it just looked that bad. And there it is. We're watching it now as it happens.
And just again, just two guys going for a ball, and they kind of get crumpled up. They both lean into each other, both lose balance, and the impact was on his ankle. He had to be taken out. Of course, the reason the Sockers win, Jerry, is their stars do show up in the second half, and it was wild in terms of if you watched all the shots at Tavoy Morgan in the first 2.5 quarters, how he would be an inch away. Like his first couple shots were a little wide, and then he was nailing posts. Just like crush a post, just miss wide.
Yeah.
And then you see how he winds up scoring a hat trick. And first a right-footed shot that tickles the inside of the post and goes in. Then a left-footed shot that tickles the inside of the right post and goes in. Tavoy was like an inch away from a 5 or 6 goal game, but had that pinpoint precision when he really needed it in the second half.
Yeah, we really needed to see him. We missed him the first and second. It was good to see him come in and do Tavoy Morgan things. What a couple of beautiful goals there in the beginning to bring San Diego to 5-4. But my goodness, if it wouldn't have been for Tavoy and for Churras, I'm not sure that this game would have ended the same. They had to step it up, and like you said, luckily the Stars ended up showing up against the Stars in the third quarter and fourth quarter.
Well, the fourth was a wild one. You just watched, if you're watching with us live on Twitch, the first of two nearly identical set piece goals for the Stars that would tie the match 5-5 and then give them a 6-5 lead. And all of a sudden you're in this situation. The Sockers are now trailing by 1. They don't have Gutierrez. They do have they don't have Reyes. So they have now Farber, Zé Roberto, and Eddie Velez, who were supposed to play sparingly, if at all, in the game, taking full and regular shifts, having to go out there every second or third time and play. And you're wondering, is this going to be a freaky result on the heels of the same day when Baltimore went to Florida and won by 8 goals? You're like, are the Sockers going to bogey the hole when their opponent gave it to them, essentially? And instead, the Stars came to play. And of course, Tavoy had an incredible individual effort, taking down an aerial distribution from Boris Pardo, turning it into a snap header off the wall, following his own shot with that quickness, with that athleticism to be able to just follow his own shot so fast and left foot it over Danny Waltman for the game tying goal. And, it leads me just again to discuss Morgan's work rate, his usage rate and his work rate, Jerry, because Tavoy Morgan, and if you're watching, you see this goal now, 5'9", listed at 5'9", 185. but he never stops. Every single time he brings the ball down, he's going to make an offensive attacking move, or he's going to lay it off to an opponent, or he's going to hold up the ball to allow one of his teammates to make a run. And it's just the relentlessness of it. You can watch other great forwards in the league, and you don't see the consistency of 100% effort that you see from Tavoy Morgan. And I think that's why he's got 32 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that goal, you see him man, that guy can jump high. And then he still follows through, right? It hits the post. He continues on. He looks for the ball. It bounces right back at him. Lucky there that he was able to just place it in the back. But I mean, lucky, but also not. That's skill right there. That it's just, man. There's not enough you can say about Tavoy Morgan, and it was so good to see him in the third and then in the fourth coming in. Because golly, what a big difference he made.
Well, the game-winning play didn't get an assist, and that's Charlie Gonzalez reading a sidewall set piece perfectly, jumping up like a defensive back on an interception to make the steal, getting the ball through midfield and ahead to Juan Manuel Rojo, who spots his fellow Tijuanense, Brandon Escoto, unmarked. Escoto making the run. He had to make the hard run to make himself available. And when he did, it was a slam dunk goal. But it all started with the intelligence, the soccer intelligence and awareness of Charlie Gonzalez to read the play, to read the players involved, and recognize that it was his ball to go get.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was, man, Charlie Gonzalez, again, one of the other unsung heroes, I think, of this team. He may not have, the most goals. He may not have the most assists, but my goodness, the guy makes difference. He just, that knowledge of soccer, as you mentioned, plays such a big part in making the Sockers who they are right now. I think that he came in and he knows his role. He wasn't expected to be, the lead goal scorer in the team, like maybe he was alongside the King over in Ontario. But, these guys are all playing in such a way where they understand what their job is. They understand that sometimes they're not going to be the ones to put the ball in the back of the net. They're unselfish, and you see that there. It just, what a beautiful goal. And I think I saw somebody comment, actually, Craig, and maybe you can comment on this a little bit, but I saw somebody on social media say that was actually Charlie just really being smart about the fact that had happened to us multiple times. They had done that to us multiple times, and he was just ready for it at that point and was able to take advantage of it and take that ball away. It was not, it was, so it's basically something that he had already noticed and just was prepared for it. He basically was telling himself, if this happens again, I'm ready for it.
I think there's some truth to that, Jerry. And I also think if you go back and analyze that play, that when you look at the joy that the Stars found on set pieces, it was a combination between Cox and Pereira, 10 and 11. Yep. And that particular play, they didn't do that. And it was Philip Lund passing to Alessandro Canale. And those aren't the two most skilled guys with the ball at their feet on the Tacoma Stars. But more importantly, I think it was a play that was really obviously designed. There was really only one true option for Lund to pass to on that wall play, and it was Canale. And so, just all the credit in the world to Charlie Gonzalez, because he reads the play, he makes the smart move. I think his soccer intelligence is underrated. And then makes the unselfish play, and making the unselfish play has been just such a cornerstone aspect, I think, of what we've gotten from Charlie Gonzalez this year. We saw Choras walk the ball into the net to wrap things up in the match. Canale not happy with that, giving him a little bit of the shiver as he emerged from the net. Whatever, we'll live with that. Sockers win 8-6. Now, it's been 2 days, Jerry, of consternation around the Sockers front office. Do we even have enough players to go to Baltimore? Are we going to have to dress some retired Sockers? I mean, we've already dressed all the soon-to-be retired Sockers.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Zay and Eddie and Farbs, are we going to have to dress retired Sockers now? Do we have to get cheeky out of the front office? Do we have to bring Paul Wright's banner down from the rafters? Let's bring down the number 3, the P3, and put the number 3 back into the lineup. What's it going to be, right?
Mr. Wright looks like he's in great shape still. I'm just saying. He was there at the game. I got to say hi to him. he looks like he's ready to go. I'm just saying.
I think he would 100% score a goal if we started him on
How many
Saturday.
how many did he score during the alumni game? Like 5? Nah, he scored like 2. 2, right?
At least one or
2
two.
and
I
an
know he had one.
Two
I
and
know
an
he had
assist.
one for sure. And of course, all of this revolves around the health of our players. We know Cesar Serra is going to be back because he was just sick on Sunday. So he's going to be back in the lineup this weekend. We already know Craig Childs, Guerrero Pino, Felipe Gonzalez will not be in the lineup this weekend. If they take the trip, they're not, they're not playing. We're pretty sure Callahan's not going to play. But the question was, Gutierrez, is it broken? Is he out for the year? Is he all done?
Yeah.
And he went to get x-rays today, Jerry. Breaking news, exclusive news on Soccer's Overtime. No break.
No break.
Week to week. No
Okay.
break.
Okay.
No break.
Woohoo!
It's such good news. We had a video.
There we go.
In the team WhatsApp channel of Christian Gutierrez at Olympus Movement Performance with Anne-Marie Alf today on that left ankle, stepping up, stepping down, doing the steps, stepping up on the riser, stepping down. Gingerly, he's not going to play this weekend, but the whole Christian Gutierrez is gone for the year, and what will we do now becomes, hey, Paul Savage, team MVP, magic fingers. Time to get to work with them magic fingers. Get that X5 running. Get the electronic stimulation going. And let's see if we can turn 4 to 6 weeks into 2 to 3 weeks for Christian Gutierrez to get back out there. Because 2 to 3 weeks means a chance to contribute in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, that's great news. You saw Marla Shack here on the chat. She says, really? Breaking news? Don't scare us like that. I love that.
Breaking news, it's not broken.
Breaking news is not broken. Oh, man.
Well, with that happy note, it's the bottom of the hour here on Soccer's Overtime.
Happy birthday to him and Boris Pardo, by the way.
Absolutely. Boris Pardo his 38th birthday today, and there was a nice get together at Calafino this afternoon for Boris Pardo. But it's the bottom of the hour. One of the people who was at that get together is our special guest right now. He's making his Soccer's Overtime debut and his second tour of duty with the San Diego Sockers. Last time he was here, the team went 23-1. This time they're trying to go 23-1. Must be a Juan Gonzalez thing. Juan Gonzalez is our guest today on Soccer's Overtime. Juan Gon, Craig and Jerry, your pals here. Thanks so much for the time.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on here.
Man, that's awesome. I didn't know that, Craig. That's amazing. It might be a Juan Gonzalez thing. There you go. Man, I'm glad we brought him back. How are you, man? Good to have you here.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Doing well. Just listening to you guys and excited about those good news for Christian. Really good news for us.
Yeah, huge stuff. So we just went through the highlights, Juan. We just talked about the match Sunday against Tacoma. So let's offer it up as a platform for your thoughts. What was said in the locker room? What were you and Felipe talking about afterwards? What were your thoughts on that game?
There was a lot of talking going on. Obviously, we have some key players missing. A lot of key players missing for us. But I think what came about was just talking, stay structured, do your job, follow your man, work hard defensively like we've been all year, and we'll be okay. Obviously, when things were going to be a little bit weird on the bench, on the field, probably wasn't going to be as smooth as we wanted it to because some of these guys haven't played with us. But at the end of the day, I think everybody did a good job, and we were able to pull off with the win.
One of the things that I noticed and I was talking about earlier was that when we went down 4-2 going into the half, I didn't see anybody's head down. Like everybody still felt it, to me at least, from watching you guys and kind of your physical expressions and how you were walking, you knew you weren't out of the game. You knew like there was work to be done, but you weren't down and out. How did you see the guys kind of going into it? Obviously not something we're very used to this season, going 4-2 into a half. What was the mentality going into the half, and what did you guys talk about that, maybe what did coach or anybody else in the locker room say to you guys that kind of to pump you up and keep you going?
We were definitely thrown off by the score at halftime. We have not seen that at all season actually, especially by being down by 2 goals. Um, I feel like we needed a little bit more energy, more intensity. We had the opportunities, we had the chances, we had the shots. They just weren't going in, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but we saw that Tuboy was having a pretty good game, even first half, even though he wasn't making them, but he created those chances for us. So we said once that first one comes in, the rest of them will just come right up, and it'll keep coming and it'll keep coming. And they showed it with this hat trick, you know. Um, at halftime, we just said, hey, defensively, we just could be a lot more organized. Show some pride in your defense. Don't let anybody beat you, and then we can work from that and build from that and gain some momentum.
Yeah, when you get pinball goals in a game, when things happen and things fall apart, I think about the 4-2 goal, for example, and DeBray Holloman makes a nice play, kind of reaches around to Scoto, redirects a ball. All of a sudden you're down to, all of a sudden you're looking at each other a little bit. I think it's a sign of the quality of leadership on the club, right, Juan, that you guys are able to refocus on principles instead of starting to finger point.
Yes, just as most definitely. I think what's really helped us, and for me personally, um, I've never felt like we've been out of a game. Even those Chihuahua games, those games where we've been down by a goal, 2 goals, this game against Tacoma, we have the squad to be able to come out of those difficult situations, down by 1 goal, down by 2 goals. And I think that shows a lot of character from us. Being able to come back, keep your heads, stay level headed, stay composed, focused, and be able to just get back into the game 1 goal at a time, which makes a big, big difference.
One of the things that I've been very impressed with is just how consistent this team has been, how um, just unselfish with the plays on the field every player is on this team. What do you think is making this team such a special team? To bring us to the first placed, clinching the West Division so early with 5 games to go and all of that. What do you think what is it about this team that's making it so special?
I think the chemistry we have on the field is amazing. It's really well. Off the field, it's just as good, if not even better. We just show and everybody shows initiative. We're willing to work for each other. Hey, you can't follow this guy, I'll take him for you. You get the closer guy. There's no need for you to make that extra 10-yard run, when I can cover him for you. And it's shown the character, the leadership from a lot of these players, especially the people that have been here a lot longer. The leadership has definitely shown on that field every single game, day in and day out, including practice, including those activities that we have. It brings us all together, and it just shows on the field even more.
Love it.
Juan, you have the ability to play anywhere on the field, and there's been times they've asked you to play up top, like in Utica. More of the time this year, you've been asked to play in the back. And that gives me a chance for you to maybe kind of brag on your teammates a little bit, because the Sockers have had the best defense in the league. Obviously, Boris is the rock in the back, but when you look at Pino, when you look at Mitchell, when you look at Serra and Rojo, and yourself, I mean, I don't think there's any defensive core that can stack up to what you guys bring to the floor, both in terms of two-way ability, but most importantly, in terms of taking the other team's best player and eliminating them as the number one threat.
Yes, honestly, the ability, like you said, to be able to shut down some of these top scorers, have been, top of the list throughout the season, and we've been very fortunate enough to be able to shut those guys down. Um, Defensively, I think the team is very good. Those 4 guys, Rojo, Cerda, Pino, Mitchell, have done really, really good job defensively. And I think what helps us a lot is just that we have the ability of some of our defenders to be able to become attacking players as well. And if needed, can take people on, can defend, can work up top as well. And I believe that's gotten us a long way. Um, but obviously, at the same time, it comes as a team effort. We're just sometimes we help and we try and communicate and just kind of structure them a little bit from the back because we have eyes from the back, right? So that's the job that we have. And overall, with all these scores, it's become a team effort, and it's been a really really good job from everybody.
One of the things, because what I'm hearing right now from what you're saying is just this is a well put team, just on the type of player that is there, but also the mentality, right? Like everybody gets along. It's just a really well put together team. I'm interested how the new players coming in, and I'm being new to the league, new to the sport, like Allen coming in to the team, like Javier Snare Williams coming into the team. How's that blend been with the old and new players? And how do you see the new guys kind of fitting in, and I I guess adding to the squad that's the veterans.
Uh, uh, in my opinion, again, they've done a really good job. They've kind of molded into the team a little bit. Obviously, it was obvious and known that it's going to take them a little while to get into the system, into the rhythm of the game that San Diego has. Which there's been many players in and out of this franchise that some succeed, some don't. And with Allen, being he's a really young player, so he's still learning, but he's doing a really good job when he does step on that field defensively. He's really young, he's really strong, he has a really great shot, which not many people have seen actually, but you'd be surprised if you see his shot. But overall, everybody that's came into this team now, even when they had to step in for somebody else that's injured or whatever the reason may be, um, honestly, they've all done a great job. They listen to the veterans, and that's why they've been able to succeed. And they're willing to learn, and they ask questions as well.
Juan, it's Boris's birthday today. The whole club was together this afternoon. Lovely framed jersey for him that I know everyone signed. The cake, the drinks, everything else. A fun time was had by all. But Boris is looking to basically start almost every game this year, right? Had 2 games missed by suspension, 1 to illness, and otherwise is the every game starter at age 37 on 38. Has the 1 overtime loss. That's it. Leads the league in wins, practically leads the league in goalie triple crown. Probably is the goalkeeper of the year. But what does Boris mean beyond the numbers, beyond stopping the ball? What does Boris mean to this team in terms of leadership?
Oh, he is one of those key players on that team that plays a key role and takes initiative, and is really good with what he does. He means just the way he communicates on that field. He is communicating 60 minutes, if not, even longer, because even before the game, he's trying to get everybody level-headed, focused. Stay focused, stay focused, stay focused is one thing that he's always telling us. One thing I love about him is just the fact that his mentality in the game is just the same at practice. He's gonna let you have one. He's gonna yell at you. He's gonna be positive. Sometimes he's gonna yell at you, but hey, it happens, right? But once he does yell at you, after he comes and talks to you, it's hey, this is how it is. This is how it should have been. He will actually help you with it as well. But obviously during the game, a lot of emotions are running, and it happens. That's just the way he has to communicate to us. It's loud in there, but and it happens, and it happens. It's just listen, and then talk about it once we get back on the bench, right? But his key role here, man, has been tremendous, and he helps us a lot defensively. Makes it a lot easier for us when we're defending these, really good players, especially, Pino Mitchell, that they're in the back a little bit more and sit back a little bit. He's really been helping and making it that much easier for us, to be able to move forward, stay back, and defensively as a team work together.
Juan, one thing that I noticed about Pardo is that his mad face or angry face is the same thing as his pumped up face. Like when he's like, "Let's go!" He looks when he's upset, like it's the same face. So you're not sure which one you're gonna get until you hear like like a bad word or something come out of him, and then you're like, oh, okay, he's mad.
Exactly. So I guess when you see his face, you're 100% right about that. Now I guess it comes down to his tone of voice, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
or if he curses, it's like, oh, okay, he's not, now he's mad. Yes.
We talked a lot about the team, but I want to know about you, man. So first of all, I said it at the beginning. I'm so glad to have you back here. You played
Thank
for
you.
San Diego already in 18-19, where we made a quite a big run, and here you are again. And here we are in the same position. How has it been for you to be back in San Diego with the squad and once again reunited with somebody that looks a lot like you, sir?
Honestly, I'm excited, extremely excited. Even my first year here, when I was playing here, I was extremely excited to come here. Finally got the call. Hey, would you like to join us? I put that, in a heartbeat. I said, of course. Who wouldn't want to be out here in a franchise like San Diego? But not just that, be able to show your ability and just show who you are, as a person on and off the field, and be able to show them that why it is that they brought you in. Whether you start or not, when you have the opportunity to play, take it, move forward with it, and think positive, and work hard. Anything can happen. Injuries are happening to us now, unfortunately, which is not, what we wanted this late in the season. But I'm like I said, I'm very happy. Being back on the team with my brother, just for me in general, has always made things easier when we're on the field at the same time. Whether it was here in San Diego, back home, off season, years back when we were in Las Vegas, we had some great games against San Diego. But it's awesome. I enjoy it very much, and I think gives us a little bit of an upper hand being able to communicate without talking.
What? It's true. It's
Yeah.
real.
So we just wanted to debunk some things really quick. So when
Yeah.
he hurt his knee, did you feel pain?
Definitely did not feel the pain on my knee, but it definitely hurt that he was injured.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Mhm.
Fair enough. Can you
Imagine
complete
that.
each other's sentences with regularity?
It has happened, and I've told many people, with our family, and not many people know this, like with our family, we have, white elephant. And it's been times where we ask for the same thing without even knowing. Until we open that gift. Yes. Yes.
Funny.
Do your tastes extend beyond the soccer field? Do you like the same music? Do you have the same taste in women? Do you have the same taste in food?
Uh Other than soccer, actually, no. We don't. We don't. There's a difference there. There's a difference. There's similarities, but yeah, they're not. There's also opposites in those things.
And imagine, Craig, if Felipe gets hurt and then Juan feels it and he gets hurt too. Like,
We don't want that. No, it
no,
can't
we
go
don't
that
want
way.
that.
No,
So
no, no.
I'm glad it doesn't work that way, is what I'm trying to put out
Goodness.
there. Is
Oh
like,
my God.
let's all just be glad that they're different. They do have their differences, but also they can communicate. Like, you guys are like X-Men, which is kind of crazy that you can do that and communicate with each other. But we saw it. I mean, in the beginning of the season, there was one play where it was like, man, they didn't say anything and they just perfectly knew what they were gonna do. That was beautiful to watch.
Yes, 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 yes. That was the first game of the season, I believe, against Tacoma,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Away game, and I knew I heard somebody. I just kind of heard, and I just wasn't sure where he was at, but just from the voice, I was like, okay, he's got to be behind me, because I have nobody else in front of me. I'm in front of the wall, you know. So that was just we were fortunate enough and lucky enough that he came, and it ended up being a goal as well.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff, mate. Well, it is so great to have you on the show. I'll let you get back to your Tuesday evening, but we thank you so much, our Soccers fans watching live and watching on replay and listening on the podcast. All thank you for the time. Please bubble wrap this entire team on this flight to Baltimore. We need you all to get back, okay? Like, there's some really big games coming up next week. Not that the games this weekend aren't big, but please travel safe, be well, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Juan. Suerte. Oh man.
That was fun.
It's always fun. No, man, and that's what I keep telling you. Like, whenever we have any sort of player come on and just have a chat, you can tell like the friendship. It's not just on the field, but off of it as well, right? And it's just such a good thing to see, man. It's just it's exciting. Like, regardless of, and of course, I want to see them, repeat a championship. But regardless, we've seen a team that is just a force to be reckoned with, and I love it. And it starts with people like Juan, who bring so much knowledge of the game, who have been there before, and continue to add that leadership, to the already existing leadership that was there from the last season. It's great. I love it.
Good stuff from Juan Gonzalez, and we absolutely appreciate his time. Jerry, we have so much MASL news.
Uh-oh.
We have like a podcast full of we have so much that like the MASL should create a podcast for us to host with just this news. There's so much news.
I mean, I already put in, when we talked to Alex, I mean, I said it. I'm here. I don't know,
Right?
Craig. I don't know if Craig has time, but I'll do it.
I mean, we got MASL Mondays. Maybe we need MASL News Tuesdays. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and Wednesdays and Thursdays. Let's go. And Fridays and
Okay.
Saturdays.
Some of this stuff is great. Some of this stuff is good, and some of this stuff is going to be a little bit controversial.
Uh-oh.
But we're going to go through it all. All right. And we thank you all for being here with us for the ride. Let's start with just something that's unabashedly great. Last week, the Mesquite Outlaws announced that after sitting out the COVID season and this season in hiatus, that they are returning for 2022, 2023. They made their debut in 2019-20. That was Mitchell Cardenas. That was his team. Tattoo, the coach. Vic Moraligwe was their top scorer. Jamie Lovegrove was there. They did some decent things. They didn't have a winning season, but for a first year, they were good. But now it'll be two teams in Texas. That's huge for the league, Jerry, from a scheduling standpoint, because you love to be able to figure out easier travel weekends, right? Mesquite and Allen are essentially 80 minutes apart. It's a very short drive to get between those two sites. So as the Sockers did in that 2019-20 season, you can have a Friday in Mesquite, a Sunday in Dallas, a day off in between. And, stuff like that is great when it comes to the hub of creating a schedule.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm glad to see them back. And yeah, like you said, I think having those trips down and playing against the sidekicks and then playing against Mesquite is going to be great on the scheduling side of things, which is always a good thing. The less travel, the better for the players, the better all around, and the more games we get to see against different teams too. So adding more teams is fantastic. Did we add anybody else?
Well, in addition to now being able to have a two-team trip to Texas, you can now again have a two-team trip to Mexico.
Vámonos.
Today, so highly anticipated, the Monterrey Flash announced that they are back. They are back in the league for 2022-2023, one of the absolute banner franchises of indoor soccer of the last 20 years, the Monterrey Flash, with Gerardo Lozano as owner back once again. We can probably assume, and we'll talk about this, that a lot of the Monterrey imports to Chihuahua will be heading right on back to Nuevo León and right on back to Monterrey Arena and to the Flash. And that Monterrey will probably step right back in, retaking their spot as one of the top contenders next year for the Ron Newman Cup.
Monterrey is scary. If they can bring back that team that we're used to seeing come out of the Flash, it's going to be great. Also, I have missed Chili Willy. Glad to have him back as well. Such an entertaining character, but no, like seriously, that also gets me pumped because Craig, you and I can take a trip to Mexico for a doubleheader and actually make a proper trip out of it. And I'm excited for that. If that's ever possible, I would love to go to Monterrey. I would love to go to Chihuahua, as we've already talked about. So Mesquite and Monterrey coming in, I mean, just fantastic news for MASL.
The M&M boys are back. Mesquite, Monterrey, they're back. Yeah, and Monterrey and Chihuahua in the league at the same time. I'm really hoping that Savage will be building on this great season that they're having. But, just truth be told, Berna is Monterrey's keeper. Edgar Torres Gonzalez is Monterrey's striker. Pareja is Monterrey's midfielder.
Yeah.
Is Monterrey's midfielder. Like these are all guys who had flash ties, and with the flash out, they played for Chihuahua. Popper, Carlos Hernandez, Popper is another one of those guys. So will some of them stay in Chihuahua? Will they all go back to Monterrey and Chihuahua has to field a new roster? Stay tuned, dear listener. We will find out as the road continues. But it's just great to have Monterrey back. It's one of the most anticipated trips. It's one of the scariest, not in terms of danger, but in terms of winning trips in the whole league, is going to Monterrey and dealing with Chili Willy and dealing with the fireworks inside the arena and all of the craziness, and that team, the quality of the team. So super, super great news there. The league has made a number of kind of quick announcements. Let's handle a couple easy ones first. They announced that in 2022-2023, the season schedule will be 24 games again. Not really shocking, but when the leadership triumvirate, Jerry, came in terms of Keith Tozer, and JP Delacamera and Shep Messing, I know especially Shep had talked about expanding the league schedule and playing more games. Of course, the old MISL played at one point a 54 game schedule. And the MASL is at 24. So will that happen in the future? Quite possibly, but next year, 24 games, no change. That's good news. Anzus in the chat asked, who's Monterrey's coach? It's Jaime Luis Borrego, the man who is currently Chihuahua's head coach. Luis Jaime Borrego. So again, there's a lot of Monterrey import right now in the state of Chihuahua that's heading back to Nuevo Leon. Okay, so 24 game schedule. Instant replay is coming back for the playoffs, Jerry. And think about the final last year and how the final was decided on a replay, right? The game ended, and then we waited 5 minutes for them to review whether William Vanzella punched the ball inside or outside the crease and whether it would be take it all back, reset to 6 seconds, and give Frank Tayu a penalty shot. It came down to review last year, and review is back. And in a game like the Sport of Indoors with the challenge flag and everything, I'm all for it.
Same. No, I'm so excited for this one. And if I'm being completely honest and transparent, I do think that the playback and instant replay, the VAR should be throughout the entire season. That's just my opinion. But I'll take for the playoffs, I'll take that. And I think hopefully moving forward, they may consider it. I'm sure they have already. I'm sure there's talks about it. But I'm excited to see it back, honestly, because like you said, we see it played a big difference. I mean, it really did during the playoffs last season. And so what what a difference it will make this season is yet to be seen, but I'm excited to have that back. So yeah, no, kudos to the league for bringing that back, honestly. And hopefully, hey, if you're listening, anybody that has any sort of power, maybe, make it consider making it a full season thing, because I think it would be very beneficial. And I'm sure a lot of people, there's always going to be people on either side, right? Especially if it affects them negatively, they're not going to like it. But when it affects them positively, all of a sudden they're all about it. So it's always going to be that conversation of like, is it good? Is it bad? I'm personally on the side that I believe I'd rather have it and it be used properly. And I think it adds to the game itself.
I see a little bit of dissent in the chat in terms of, hey, maybe replay should only be for goals, because remember, some of the most controversial replays last year, one of the things that you were allowed to do was throw the flag to say that there should have been a foul called before that play where the goal was scored, that there was a missed call en route to a goal. And that's where it can really get into kind of hedgy situations. Marlisha asks, when will they announce the rules? Well, let me pull up the replay review release, and let's go through it and see exactly what the league said. Okay. During the game, video review can be initiated by the head coach through a coach's challenge procedure. Each team will be permitted one challenge during regulation play that will initiate a VR. The head coach will throw the flag. Okay. Correcting quote unquote clear and obvious errors, dealing with serious missed incidents. Marlisha, they have not fixed this.
Oh no.
Hang on. Okay, hang on. Okay, I got it. No, I had to keep going down. Situations in which video review is permissible. Here we go. Marlisha, they fixed it.
Hey, there we go.
They fixed it. Blue card, 2-minute power play time penalty. So you could review whether it should have been a blue card or not. Foul only is called in the field. Coach may challenge that a blue card should have been given. Accuracy of a given blue card. Coach may challenge a blue card was given incorrectly. Penalty area. Incidents resulting in a PK incorrectly awarded or a PK not awarded. Shootout. Verification of whether the shootout rule should have been enforced. Faking or embellishing. That's all under number 1, under blue card penalties. Number 2, possible direct red card. Number 3, fouls not called. That's what I just said. A potential foul that directly leads to a goal being scored. 4, major rules errors. And 5, goal, no goal. What did the ball wholly cross the line? Jerry, that's a really, really, really wide latitude.
Yeah. It's a lot of loopholes in there, it feels like.
Basically everything. You know what it really is? It's if you give up a goal, a go-ahead goal in the final minute, you just throw the flag.
But is this only on flags, or can the officials actually say, hey, we're going to go to the video?
The officials can make that call on their own. That was the rule last year, was that once you used a throw, then you could ask them, would you pretty please? And it was up to them whether they would or not. Not clear if the team retains a challenge if they get a challenge. Let me just double check through that. Process overview. Once the coach initiates a challenge, the coach must communicate to the referee which of the review situations the challenge is based on. A review can only take place when play is stopped. There's no time limit, as accuracy is more important than speed. However, the goal is under 90 seconds. A decision cannot be reviewed or changed if play is restarted. The referees must always make a decision prior to VR. In other words, they can't just go in and look at the replay and decide what to do. The referees can initiate a VR if a team is out of challenges, only if the referee has a quote-unquote strong sense that a clear and obvious error has been made. Players must not surround or attempt to influence the referees. Should a game proceed to overtime, you get a new challenge. So it does not say that you get to keep your challenge if you had a successful challenge.
Yeah.
So it looks like you have, even if you're right, you just get one.
Hey, I don't know if I like that. So basically, you have to hold off if it's early in the game and you think it's not worth throwing it out. You kind of have to suck it up. Yeah, because
Yes.
that's the one comment in our chats right now. That's it's not clear if the team retains a challenge, and Gabriel says it can only throw one flag, but you get it back in overtime, is what it is.
Right. One thing about I'm trying to remember which game it was last year in the playoffs where that was a factor, where the opposing coach threw his challenge flag very early in the match. Something makes me think it was Jimmy in match 1 of the finals, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
It could have been Clay Roberts, but I think it was Jimmy in round 1 of the finals. And like the flag went out early and then, oops, you missed that call. Now what are you going to do the rest of the game? So it is a really tough situation because there's got to be a first half decision when you're like, I could throw this, but maybe I need to hold on. It's almost like an immunity idol in Survivor. Like I know I could use this and it would be useful, but maybe there's going to be a bigger situation that I don't yet know about.
Yeah.
But then there's always that risk. Why not fix the call that's right in front of you right now? Who's to say that this won't be the most important call? So very, very difficult. Very, very difficult for the head coach. That is not an easy situation.
Craig, you end up getting more chances in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire than this. I don't like that.
Yeah, no phone a friend.
No phone a friend. No, take out some of the answers to give you a better clue.
Right.
Oh
It's
man.
very difficult. It's maximum difficulty. All right, next story. This is another indisputably cool and good story. The MASL will host for the first time a pro player combine, and it will take place Thursday, October 20th through Sunday, October 23rd. It will be at the Mesquite Arena in Mesquite, Texas. Jerry, and you know this because you're on the back end of our social media. How many times we get Instagram messages, Facebook messages from players in Brazil, in Mexico, in Spain, wherever. One from, I think, Iran or Saudi Arabia this year. And they're like, hey, I'm a player. I'd love to play on your team. When do you have tryouts? When can can I give you my film? This, that, and everything else. And before it was really, hey, we don't know you. Who are you? But now I've been answering all of those messages, Jerry, with the same script answer, which is that the Major Arena Soccer League is hosting an MASL Pro Player Combine October 20th through the 23rd. There will be 3 days of drills, 3 days of scrimmages, of gameplay. There will be a cut that takes place after the second day. And then players who make it through all 3 days of the combine will then create the pool for an MASL Pro Combine draft, where the teams will be able to draft the players they just saw in the combine. And the drafting means you get an opportunity to come to preseason and to try out for the team. So this is huge for our league, because codifying this, creating a set system, creating a one place. Now I'm telling every one of these people, go to Texas in October and check out the combine. Good question, Gabriel. Can fans go to the combine and watch? Probably. They did not mention fans in the release. They probably didn't think you'd want to fly down there and watch, but probably you and Cowboys and Eddie do. So you have to be 18 to be able to sign up for the Pro Player Combine. But I'm guessing, I'm guessing yes. I'm guessing that fans would be able to go. I don't know if they'll show it on MASL TV. I don't know if they'll try and do an NFL Network type situation, and then they'll ask me to run a 40-yard dash or dribble a cone drill or something. Like what's his name on NFL Network? I can't remember his name. The old ESPN anchor who always does the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine.
And I don't watch ESPN
Or the NFL.
or the NFL. One of the Eddie said, I get those messages all the time from those players. I see them all the time. Eddie, send them our way. Apparently now that's gonna be a thing. So send them our way. No, but this makes me excited because I mean we've talked about it before and we'll continue to talk about it. And I'm sure some of the elders may not absolutely, I don't know, I think they would agree. Like we need, young blood. We need some younger players coming in, and there's so many good players out there that are overlooked in maybe other leagues, or in they just lose an opportunity and maybe there just wasn't a fit or whatever it may be. Here's another opportunity for fantastic players to come in, go into a combine, and possibly play in indoor arena soccer. Like I'm all about that. I think it's such a fantastic thing, and absolutely a huge step forward for the league as a whole.
Rich Eisen is the name I was looking for, Gabe.
Keeper said Terry Bradshaw. No.
Yeah, run, Rich, run. They do that every year at the combine. He runs the 40-yard dash. It's a thing. Anyways, sorry for my digression. Okay, so
this is great. Right. Hope League checks work visas at combine.
Yeah, please, right? Can we oh my God, the visa situation. All right, let's get to a new situation. The league started putting games on this here platform, Jerry, over the course of the weekend. Games on Twitch. What a surprise. Friday, Sunday, and last night. The games were on Twitch.
Love it. No, it was definitely a good experience. I know that there's a lot of people that maybe aren't used to it and aren't familiar with Twitch, but honestly, this is such a great platform, and I think this will absolutely You're hearing it here first. There's a reason why we've been on Twitch, because this is the future. But YouTube still is fantastic, though. Don't get me wrong. And you will still be able to get a lot of content on YouTube. But for the league to go towards Twitch, I think it just opens up a door of possibilities and a door to a new audience, which is also something that's, we need. Along with the young players that we need to come into the league, we also need a new audience and a younger audience to come in as well. And so I'm excited for it, man. I got to watch a couple of the games on Twitch. It was fantastic. The chat works great, as you guys that are here with us now can see. There's all sorts of really cool things that you can do, and I'm loving it, man. I think we saw it with the initial ball, that the Twitch colors were already there. There was something happening.
Yeah.
There's something starting to ferment, and here we are now with MASL now starting to play the games on Twitch. I personally, I know you may not like it, people that are listening, but I love it.
All right. So, as we are here on this safe space in the podcast, I am thrilled that the league has come to an agreement with Twitch. I think this is great. And I think that the future of the league being on Twitch is exciting and is really cool. Everything you said, Jerry, honestly, I co-sign. I agree with all of that. I just need to add a small but to the end of it. But I really would wish that the league would make a deal like this at the start of the season. Because there's a little thing called conditioning. And it's something that anyone in marketing or broadcasting or communications, or just who has a TV or whatever, understands. You are conditioned to look for certain content in certain places. We have conditioned the fans of the MASL all year to watch matches on YouTube. And I will tell you that last night, when I went to look for the Ontario match, I went to YouTube. Even though I had read a press release about Twitch, I went to YouTube. Why? Because I'm conditioned to go to YouTube. And then after I looked for it and I was lost and I was confused, I went, oh, wait, it's probably on Twitch. And I went to Twitch and I found it. Then I had to drive to our Padres Hot Tub podcast, Jerry. I got in the car. I tried to put the game on my phone. You know what I did? I went to YouTube. Because I'm conditioned. I'm like a trained mouse. I'm conditioned. Yeah. And I saw a really, really small audience on Twitch last night for the Monday night game between Fury and Stars. And I think smaller than it would have been on MASL TV on YouTube. I give the league credit and major kudos for working out a deal like this with a platform like Twitch. But the rollout was super, super shoddy. There wasn't really even an announcement that games would be moving over to Twitch. There was a lot of confusion. There were a lot of people going, hey, wait, what? Now listen to Twitch's credit, like the games, because I watched the first half live. I had to record a podcast. I came back. It was there. That was one thing I was worried about, was like, is the replay going to be there? No, it's there. The streaming quality of Twitch, extremely high. The chat box, extremely high. Mm-hmm. However, D Bishop in our chat brings up a great point. Let's say you're someone like me who uses a Roku app for their television. Twitch isn't on Roku right now. Of course, YouTube is on Roku. Some smart TVs don't have a Twitch app. There isn't a current Twitch app for a smart TV. So if you wanted to watch on your big screen, you're going to probably have to cast it from your phone or cast it from your tablet or your laptop up to your smart TV. So, look, it's the type of thing that over the course of a year, everyone becomes conditioned to figuring out, how do I put it up on my big screen? What do I need to do? What are the steps I need to take? But to do it 2 weeks before the playoffs. So now what? Are all our playoff games going to be on Twitch, or are all our playoff games going to be on, or some games going to be on YouTube and some games are going to be on Twitch? And who's deciding which games? None of this has been communicated. Our particular game on Sunday was on Twitch. Our broadcast crew wasn't communicated that the game was going to be on Twitch until minutes before the game was on. And those type of things, just, I really, really love to have the league have a smoother rollout. Like, let's plan this and let's not do it 2 weeks before the playoffs. It just seems like really bad timing.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. It's just rough that they decided to roll this out, so close to the playoffs now. And I can agree too. I can see here in the chats, like Susan says, lots of people offering tech help, but I don't want to need help, and that's a great point. It and the conditioning too. Yeah, I get it. So, for those of us that are habitual YouTubers, I mean, it's so much easier to just go on YouTube and watch the game. I mean, it's there. You type in MASL TV, boom, you're in.
Right.
And it's tough. And being able to, have it on the app already. I would. It's tough for me because I don't have that problem. So, for me, what I would usually do is I have an iPhone, so I'll pull up my Twitch app and then I'll just AirPlay it to
Right.
my Apple TV,
Right.
or to my to my Google Home screen that I have in my kitchen while I'm doing dishes, and I can be watching the game. So for me, it's not a problem, but I can understand for somebody that wasn't prepared for it. And then those minor things and adjustments that you have to do, it could become a not so minor thing. So,
Well,
it's a bummer.
here's another thing. S. Barber just brings up, can you watch past games on Twitch? So, yes.
Yeah, you can.
The 3 games that were on Twitch, and the Twitch channel is MASL_soccer. Those archives are there, so you can watch that. But again, now if I was king, hand me the crown, Jerry. If I was in the MASL front office, I would be saying 100% every game of the 2021-22 season must be on MASL TV on YouTube. So even if the game aired exclusively on Twitch, a replay of that game should be on MASL TV.
Yeah.
So that at the end of the season, if someone is going through historically, God knows why, right? They just want to have a compilation of every single Nestor Hernandez kick of the year. They shouldn't have to be like going, oh, well, there's 21 games over here, but there's 3 games over there. And I don't, which one is where? And you're going back and forth and back and forth. So, Marlisha, there you go. Here we are, a service for you.
One thing, I do believe Roku does support Apple phones, so you can actually cast your whatever you're playing on your Apple phone to a Roku. I do believe you can do that. And maybe Miss What's It 411 can help us out with that one. But I believe I've done it before because my in-laws have a Roku, and I was able to do it before. So unless they've changed something, I think you still can basically cast whatever's on your phone to the Roku app.
Well, and indeed, as Brad Crossley says, the Kansas City game was on both websites. The San Diego Tacoma game was on both websites.
Oh, it's possible.
But the Ontario Tacoma game was on Twitch only. So, I just don't want anything to only be on Twitch this year because everyone's conditioned to go to YouTube. I like to be it on both and start to grow that Twitch audience. But for us old fuddy-duddies, who just like, oh, I go to YouTube, like it's there. And then if you want to make the transition in the off season when you can condition your fans, when you can put some marketing behind it, put some promotion behind it, some information, really get the message out there. I don't think there's been any messaging. And that's what irritates me as a messenger, as somebody who makes his life messaging. Bugged me. Okay. So that's Twitch. There was the trade deadline. The trade deadline came and went, and Vinny Dantas went to Baltimore. Big move.
Yeah. Unexpected. I was not expecting that at all. When I saw it, I was like, what? It almost, what it felt like to me? I think I might have messaged. I was like, is Tacoma throwing in the towel? Is that what this is? What's going on? And then, I think, was there any other moves other than Dantas? Oh, I saw Ray Contreras too, right? I believe he went to Chihuahua.
Ray got moved to Chihuahua.
But Dantas move, I mean, after what I saw these last 2 games with Tacoma against us and then against Ontario, was that the right move for Tacoma? Isn't?
Would Vinny have made a difference in pulling a result out of San Diego? I mean, if Tacoma had won the game here, based on the fact that they beat Ontario, they would have had a legitimate path to the playoffs. It wouldn't have been easy. It would have
Mhm.
involved them beating Chihuahua at least once this weekend up in Tacoma, but the chance would have been there. The door would have been open. Now they would have to win out. Everyone else in the world would have to lose out. Like, it's not super likely. But you know what? Looking at the Tacoma side of it, I think this is a straight rental. My understanding is Dantas's contract is up at the end of the year. Dantas's wife lives, and their family lives in upstate Washington. So Vinny will
Oh,
probably go right back to Tacoma next season. But as a playoff rental, I can't imagine anyone that Blast fans would rather have back than 28.
yeah.
And to have his beef and to have his experience and his big game scoring ability. And I mean, he didn't even play in Florida, and the Blast acted, like they turned it up to championship level, and they beat Florida by 8 goals in Florida. So, oh my gosh, what a confidence boost it clearly gave the Blast. But Dantas gives them a talent boost. I mean, straight up, when we watched Baltimore, Brad's here in the chat. Sockers are playing the Blast again this weekend, and honestly, I really thought that Baltimore just didn't have enough attack to necessarily hang with the Sockers or any good team, because you're kind of just down to like 3 or 4 guys, Roque and Donatelli, Pereira. There's just not a lot compared to what you've had. Now you add Dantas to that mix. A guy like Jeremy Rarely gets hot like he did. Mello is out there distributing. One guy can make a big difference. Look at how different Ontario is taking Charlie Gonzalez off the team, and how limited they are in terms of their creativity now that player is gone. So taking Dantas, adding him to Baltimore, I think it makes them better on the field. I think it makes them better in the locker room. And I think it definitely increases their internal confidence level. And it means that 4-5 series now, which is almost locked in stone as Baltimore Chihuahua in the first round, the small field championship of the MASL in the first round. Who is the small field champion? I mean, that's going to be a whale of a match. Before, I would have said Chihuahua 2 games, no problem. But Dantas could change the chemistry.
Yeah. No, I agree, and have nothing further to add because it's a very interesting move, and I think it's the right one. And for them, and I'm sure, like you said, I don't think they'd rather have anybody over there more than Vinny Dantas. A big loss, but maybe not so much as we thought originally for Tacoma.
Yeah. I have honestly not felt like Dantas has fit in Tacoma at all. Like, he's been a scorer, but I think he's been a kind of a shadow of what he's been in Baltimore. I don't think he and Nick necessarily clicked the way that people maybe thought they would. They were never on the floor at the same time anyway, because they were trading for each other in terms of running in twos. I just think it's bigger for Baltimore. For Tacoma, look, they're just letting Vinny play for a winner for the end of
Yeah.
the year. So it's a good move for the player. I think for the Blast, it's a big move. I don't know if it's a league changer, but I think it's a big move, and I think it's one that definitely enhances the Blast's chances. Will it be enough to take them over the top where they beat Chihuahua in that first round? Only time will tell. Chihuahua is the other hottest team in the MASL. Okay. Last thing in terms of stuff was last night. Last night, we expected to see a rollout of a new ball. As we know, there's been controversy around the flight ball for 2021-22. When I say there's been controversy, I mean specifically from one person. Okay,
Yeah,
specifically
I
from
was
one
gonna
person.
say not really. Okay.
Only one person, but he happens to be an owner, and he had a press release and some directed media. And behind the scenes, Flight listened, worked, redesigned, recalibrated, and came up with a new ball for the league. Right off the top, it's better because it's yellow, and the design is not stupid, which the design on the white ball is just indisputably dumb. It's a bunch of little purple word marks that once the ball starts rolling on the floor, it turns into a gray ball with just looks like it has dirt on it. So it was not a good creative design for the ball this year. So from an artistic aesthetic standpoint, I really like this move. But Jerry, I got to tell you, our general manager, Sean Bowers, very upset, not happy at all, because the teams, again, we talk about conditioning. All right. The teams, the players have been using one ball all year. This new ball is lighter. It is bouncier. That means, sorry, owner who didn't pass physics, it means it'll actually travel faster because a lighter ball will go faster as opposed to a heavier ball. Believe it or not.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. There's the new ball. If you're watching on the video, like the pattern's kind of like Groovy Tuesday. It looks like
the wrong way.
Something from a I don't know, something from the Castro district, maybe something from a promotional concert. But like our team practiced with the ball today, according to Brian Farber. They practiced with the ball today and they liked it. The two teams last night had the ball in warmups, and then Ontario was like, cool, we'll play. And Tacoma said, we won't use it. We want to use the old ball. And so they used the old ball last night. But it's supposed to roll out into the league this week. It's going to change players' touch.
Yeah.
Like the touch is going to be different because the ball is going to move. Why would you do this right before the playoffs? Like if there's going to be a 2 or 3 week kind of raggedy period, like when everyone's adjusting, why would you do it now? Do it in the off season. What are you guys doing?
They just want to show that they're doing things. They're moving forward with things, you know? I agree with you though. I think we could have waited. We could have waited. There was no reason why we couldn't have waited, I don't think.
Is anyone planning strategically? Or is it just, oh, we did a thing, let's roll it out? You know, like thinking about when is important, I think, but I'm old and I'm weird.
Sorry. If you were the king.
If I give me the crown.
You're not. Sorry.
Wield my mighty scepter.
Well.
Oh, wait, that's.
Stop. Yeah, I mean, I honestly though, I love the ball. It's just, did we need to come out? Like, I love the design of it, the look of it, obviously, way better than the one that they're using right now. But you're absolutely right. I think they could have. I mean, we could have been better off just waiting a little bit.
Why now?
Why now?
Did nobody plan before the season? Did all this stuff come up as we went along? Like, if I were king. All right. Last thing, real quick. Standings check. We told you last week was moving day. Some important things happened. I'm going to boil this down extremely quickly. The Sockers can finish no worse than second. Okay, with their win and Kansas City's loss, Kansas City cannot catch San Diego. Florida lost 12-4 at home to Baltimore, the most stunning result of the week. And as a result, San Diego now has a 5-point lead, a 2-point virtual lead because Florida has a game in hand, but a 5-point lead over the Tropics. Chihuahua and Baltimore have clinched playoff spots. Baltimore had clinched it 2 days before the league realized it, but Chihuahua and Baltimore have clinched playoff spots.
Yeah.
Dallas beat Kansas City, moving up into the 6th spot in the playoff bracket with 30 points. Ontario, oh my goodness. Last week on this show, we talked about what an important week it was for the Fury. Their most important week of the year. 4 matches in 6 days, hosting Florida, going south to play 2 in Chihuahua, coming back to have a Monday night game against Tacoma. And the Fury lost to Florida by 4 goals. They went down to Chihuahua. They played a great, 35, 40 minutes against the Savage, leading 2-0, and Chris Toth playing like Superman. And then Chris Toth got his ankle kicked very hard by a Savage player and was injured. And 45-year-old Chuy Molina came in off the bench ice cold, and the Savage poured 10 goals over him like hot tea. And it was an 11-4 final. And then Saturday, I don't know. Ontario didn't show up, essentially. Chuy Molina played a great game. The Fury barely put, I think, even 10 shots on goal and lost 6-1 down in Chihuahua. They go back. Last night, they lose 7-5 to Ontario, or to Tacoma. So the Fury have lost 7.
Oh, you're right. They lost to themselves. You are right.
They did. The Fury lost to Ontario and also Tacoma. So while Ontario is now 7th in the standings, Jerry, they have 3 games left. Those 3 games are at Dallas this Saturday, where the Sidekicks are hard to beat, hosting Florida next Wednesday, and at us the following Sunday.
But don't add us, bro.
I mean,
that's not a fun schedule for Ontario.
Fury better beat Dallas. Fury better beat Dallas, because that Florida-San Diego setup is not kind to them. On St. Louis is 8th with 25 points. The idea that St. Louis could win 1 more game, 2 more games this year and push up to the 7th spot, not impossible. Milwaukee would have to win all 3 of their remaining games. But if they did, they would get to 29 points, and Ontario would have to start wondering about whether they would even make the playoffs. So while it is most likely that Ontario will finish 7th or 8th, it's not impossible that they could lose out of the season. And that's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I know that there are rivals and, you know, all of the championship bound and all of that nonsense. And, you know, we love to take it to them and we love to tweak their nose when we can. But I was never expecting this. I never expected Ontario to be any less than a top 5 team.
No, I agree. I was not expecting this at all. They're dropping the ball. They're like, really, I don't know. They're not the same team. They just seem so depleted and just not the same team that we thought was going to be there, you know, from the beginning. We saw different, it's a totally different Ontario team that we saw in the beginning of the season to what they are now. You know, now basically almost having to depend on other teams at this point. You know, they still kind of have the power to control their own destiny, but also kind of not. And it's not looking very good because of like you mentioned, the last few games they're going to have are so tough. I mean, I don't know, Greg, life comes at you fast, man. You know, and it sure has hit Ontario pretty hard recently.
No question about it. You know, it's more fun when they're good and we're good. You know,
Exactly.
That was exciting last year. And yeah, absolutely, Marlisha. Maybe don't cut your best playmaker in the middle of the finals. That might be a good strategy going forward. But you know, Charlie's really happy where he is. And by the way, Charlie Gonzalez has been, Jerry, an absolute model citizen, teammate, quiet, productive, reserved. Every story I heard about Charlie Gonzalez last year was inaccurate.
Same.
Highly inaccurate. So so many people like, oh, just wait. You just wait. He won't even make it through the year. Blah, blah, blah. Are you kidding me? Trash talkers up there. Absolute model citizen. So that's the situation. Milwaukee's on the outside looking in. Not necessarily great situation for the Wave. They needed to beat St. Louis at home last weekend and they lost. And that could be the one that keeps them out of the playoffs. All right, I got 2 things left really quick. Somebody asked earlier in the chat, Jerry, about Sockers 2. Sockers 2 had a super exciting 11-9 win over Omaha Kings on Sunday to wrap up the regular season for M2 Arena Soccer and to head into the playoffs. That topsy-turvy game that, by the way, saw Alan Crespo score 5 goals. Very, very exciting. But if you were there, if you were one of the few, the proud, the Sockers 2 fans who were at Pechanga Arena,
what a surprise.
You might have seen a number 63, although I think he was wearing 11 for Sockers 2.
We're in 11. Yeah.
Iram Pollo Ruiz was out there for ST Soccer's too. Good news. Kind of.
I mean, he's playing for the Soccers, kind of.
Yeah. So just to explain this, SD Soccer's 2, M2 Arena Soccer is considered semi-professional and is not covered under the visa situation, and Pollo can play those games. He can still not play. The visa hasn't been fixed, so he can still not play for the MASL club unless we're in Chihuahua. And what are the odds that the Soccers are going to have to play a playoff match in Chihuahua? It's
Yeah.
pretty damn good, to be honest with you. It's like a really good chance. And Pollo is literally, as John San Diego 619 says in our chat, he is training with the club and he is playing with SD Soccer's 2 wholly and entirely to be match fit for that one game. That one game. And could it be game one of the finals? Could it be game one of the semifinals? You know, it's going to be one of the two if the Soccers get through, and so does Chihuahua. And whatever that game is, it's the most important game of the year, and Pollo will be there and he'll be match fit for that game. Soccers were unable to travel guys like Pino and Leo to Chihuahua last time, but to have Pollo, that's huge.
Super. I mean, if you were there and like Craig just said, if you were lucky enough to witness it, first of all, I walked in, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I know that guy. And I immediately went to Sean and I was like, is he playing? And he said, yeah. Can I post about him? And he's like, yeah, no, you're fine. And I was so just surprised to be able to see him play. Man, he hasn't lost a beat. The man is an animal. He's still so good to watch. They were, they had a fun time against the Kings, and what a game! If you guys, again, I mean, I have to ask you if you haven't checked out a Soccer's 2 game, April 3rd is going to be your chance to do that.
Yep.
It's going to be against RGV, a fantastic, the Barracudas. They're a fantastic team.
Playoff match.
Very chippy playoff match. Come out, support the boys, April 3rd. And, maybe we'll get to see you at Pollo once again. So
I think you will. I think you will get to see Pollo
Yeah.
Once again. And Gabe asking, I was talking to Gabe offline about something the Soccers are trying to do to get some visa guys in. Nothing yet. Nothing to report 48 hours later. Okay, last thing. Soccers, of course, are on the road this weekend, 3 p.m. on Saturday at Seiko Arena against the Baltimore Blast, who are hot and excited. And that's great stuff, Marlisha.
Yeah.
And are confident. And the Soccers are going to be limping in, trying to find 16 guys to put on the floor for this match. We gave the great news earlier in the podcast that Christian Gutierrez apparently does not have a broken ankle and might be able to return to the team before the end of the season. He will 100% not be there. Craig Childs will not be there. Guerrero Pino will not be there. Sean Callahan will not be there. Felipe Gonzalez will not be there. This weekend.
I get it.
I'm going to stop it right there. Andy Reyes will not be there.
You already said.
Dorado will not be there.
Ah.
So, hey, Baltimore, great spot. Great spot for the Blast this Saturday. If there's ever a team and a game and a situation to break the 16-game winning streak, it's Saturday. It's straight up. It's Saturday. Then Sunday, 2 p.m. against Harrisburg, the worst team in the league. Nothing as bad as the previous week, where it's only 2 hours from Baltimore to Harrisburg, and the game will be at 5 o'clock local time instead of 2 o'clock local time. So the Soccers will be able to have something akin to a regular night in between the back-to-back, which is great, and less likely to lead to a ton of injuries, etc. So that's the setup for this weekend before coming home for Thursday for an opening night, March 31st, Soccers, Florida Tropics, the battle for the number 1 seed. Just want to remind everyone once again, $5 tickets, $5 GA tickets. If you are watching on Twitch, I just put the link for the $5 GA tickets into the chat. You can click on that link right there, get your $5 GA tickets, free parking, Bud Lights for $2, Show up in Padres gear, and while supplies last, we got about 200, 250 of them. You can get a championship pint glass. We'll also be giving out a BOGO coupon for a future Sockers game to everybody in Padres or baseball gear. Randy Jones, this is new. Randy Jones is confirmed as our ceremonial first kick. Padres Hall of Famer, 1976 National League Cy Young Award winner, Randy Jones. Randall Jones will be there to do the ceremonial first kick, a man I've known for about 25 years now, and I'm just absolutely thrilled. He's gotten through some health stuff, and he's doing great. Randy will be there. Bobby Cressy, stadium organist, will be there offering some baseball sounds, and all of that. So it's going to be an incredible night. It's going to be an incredible match. Please take advantage of our largesse. We are leaning back and lifting the skirts. We are giving you free parking, $5 tickets, $2 beers, and freebies when you show up. So please take advantage. Let's create a great atmosphere for an opening night. And then, of course, Sunday, April 3rd, will be Fan Appreciation Night. And I will let you know we are giving away a Zé Roberto commemorative for his career t-shirt. That is the giveaway. It's just said t-shirt. Now I can tell you it will be a specific Zé Roberto t-shirt jersey honoring his incredible career, including 5 championships and who knows, maybe 6 with the San Diego Sockers when all is said and done. So tickets available. Fan Appreciation Night, Sockers Fury might be a must-win game for Ontario to make the playoffs. We don't know. Might be a situation where the Sockers need Ontario to win so that they face Ontario in the playoffs in the 1v8. Like, there's so many different possibilities and permutations. You'll just have to wait and see. But we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. And that brings a capper to an extra long edition of Sockers Overtime. Jerry, where can everybody keep track of you over the course of the week?
Let's see. San Diego Sockers. Just go to @San Diego Sockers. You can follow me on Twitter as well @Cheeto Jerry, and check out the Cheeto FC. We're doing some changes over there. That's why I haven't been too active, but I promise I'll be back very soon. But for the most part, follow us on @San Diego Sockers and @Cheeto Jerry on Twitter.
And you can follow me at 619 Sports on Twitter, 619 Sports in Life on Instagram. Follow the San Diego Sockers at San Diego Sockers on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and right here on Twitch as well. I want to say thanks to everybody who hung out with us in the chat for the last hour and 45 minutes. You are our tier ones, our number one fans. Jerry, have a great weekend. For Jerry Jimenez, I'm Craig Elston. Enjoy the action this weekend around the MASL, everyone. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Until then, be safe, have fun, and go Sockers.